Hello and welcome to a NatFun Patreon exclusive episode. Now normally you can only find these on patreon.com/natfun, but today we are sharing them with everyone. That's right, it's a NatFun Freebie Friday episode. My name is Dan, and today I will be your game master as I play a solo version of The Creeping Rot by CLAYMORE. In this solo version I will be a lone survivor trying to conserve my supplies, ensure my safety, and protect my spirit, all while tackling the ever-arising problems in the weeks following a zombie apocalypse, as problems pile on, pain, burnout, and poverty creep closer and closer. If you'd like to check out The Creeping Rot or CLAYMORE's award-winning game, Fist Ultra Edition, you can find them and more at claymorerpgs.itch.io. And if you enjoyed this episode, make sure to swing by patreon.com/natfun and subscribe to find more episodes just like this one. Now, Matt, Jackie, and I played this together previously as part of our feature of GM-less game systems, and it actually went out quite well for us. We all survived and actually almost thrived, if I'm being honest. And we were joking about it after, and I thought about, well, what would happen if you played this as a solo adventure? And the idea here is taking where we left off and advancing the clock. But before we start, I have a brief content warning. This episode features the use of firearms against human targets, and even in this fictional scenario, may not be for everyone. So if it pushes your limits, go ahead and hit the pause button, come back to it later, or skip it. Stick with your comfort level. And with that, I hope you enjoy One is the Loneliest Number. So it's now a few weeks later, and I'm on my own. I will be playing by myself, trying to survive on my own, without the aid of my friends here. And to do so, I decided we'd have to remove some of the projects that we had accomplished together. So, to recap, we had finished the projects under Spirit for privacy, commons, meditation, and solidarity. For safety, we had accomplished herbalism and buddies. And for supply, we had accomplished composting, recycling, foraging, and commune. So I went ahead and rolled a d10 to decide how many weeks it had been, and each week loss meant we would lose one of these projects, that they would have succumbed to either the weather or lack of maintenance. And I had ended up rolling a 7, so that's 7 out of 10 projects gone, 7 weeks. It's a pretty solid damaging effect here. And then I went ahead and rolled to decide what I was left with. And in the end, I'm left with privacy under Spirit, herbalism under safety, and foraging under supply. I also left off with 6 dice in my Spirit, 4 die in my safety, and 6 in my supply. And I did the same where I went ahead and rolled for deductions on this, and I am left with 4 in Spirit, 3 in safety, and 2 in supply. So that'll be what I have to work with as we all start off. So to recap how the game plays, before each turn begins, I can choose to take on a project. And if I can accomplish that project, that benefits me in the long term. It doesn't affect me if I don't accomplish it in the turn. I can take as many turns as necessary to accomplish that project. And for each turn, there's going to be a dice roll determining a spirit, safety, or supply problem from a table here provided in this guide. At the end of each turn, if I haven't solved the problem, I actually lose 1 die in that problem's category. I can have 0s in 2 of the 3 categories, but if I happen to run out of all my dice, I die. And it says in the arms of my friend, but I think here it's going to be alone. Between each turn, there's downtime where I can do an activity that can move the dice around to try to balance things out as I see fit. And with that, let's roll into it. To set the stage, Jackie and Matt left about 7 weeks ago. They were going to head out to the car and try to head over further out and see if they couldn't find more supplies. Things have been going really well for us. Maybe even pick someone up to help join us. We had the commune going, we had expanded into the neighboring buildings, and we really kind of had something good going here. They were supposed to be back by the sunset that first day, but they didn't end up coming back, and I couldn't go out there on my own looking for them. I figured the best course is to stay here and try to maintain things, but the weather took a turn for the worse here. It's getting into winter now, We've had a significant windstorm come through, and it just knocked over some trees and branches. It took out our composting area, the recycling stuff we had. Our meditation shed that Jackie worked so hard on is gone. It just crushed. Luckily, the house is still there. It's just me here on my own now. So I think for my first project I'm going to take on is going to be composting. I want to get that composting back up so I can hopefully not lose any dice when I roll ones on supply. Now let's go ahead and roll for our problem. I'll roll 2d6. It's a 4 and a 2. Oh, thank goodness it's a low number. That's a spirit. A random piercing scream rang through the air, and it's going to take 9 to beat. I'm awakened with a start from a loud, shrill scream coming from outside, very close to the house. I just have a single candle burning inside the house to keep the room at least somewhat illuminated. Matt took the gun, but I still have this golf club here. I'll go up to the window and look outside, see if I can't see what's going on, and oh, one of Matt's traps caught a possum. Let me see if I roll my dice. I have 4 in spirit, so hopefully I'll be able to overcome this. So 2, a 2, a 4, and a 3. After seeing that it's a possum, I go ahead and open that door, poke it a bit. Looks pretty dead to me. Bring that inside. I got breakfast for tomorrow. Now for my downtime, I'm going to attempt to move one of my spirit die to my supply die, so I'll be 3s across the board, and I'll do so by overworking myself. So again, I'm trying to hold this place together myself, trying to keep what we've worked on up and functioning, so that hopefully if Matt and Jackie end up returning, or if anyone else comes around, that it'll be ready and waiting for them. So I'll be able to successfully do that. And I have 3 in spirit, supply, and safety. And also during downtime, I am allowed to roll 1d6 to potentially add 1 dice to supply if I roll a 6. It's a 4. Unfortunate. Well, I don't know if I'm actually going to be able to work on that project, but let's go ahead and roll for our next problem. It's a 6 and a 4. We have a flat tire. It's going to take 15 to overcome it. Ooh, I'm losing dice. Well, with Jackie and Matt gone, and they took the car, well, we weren't really using it that much. I did find a bike in the back of a shed, and I've been trying to get it going so I have a means of escape. You know, at least I'll be faster than the creatures wandering around in this forest if I need to be. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and try to roll 3d6 for my supply. That's a 1. That's going to be extra bad. That's a 2. And that's a 1. With a 4 out of 15, I go ahead in the morning, first thing, and again, I'm going to try to work on this bike. I've got it sitting in the living room space here, since no one else is here to complain about the grease and the dirt and everything. It's fine. But this tire is giving me trouble. As I try to remove it, I actually end up bending the rim. And I'm going to have to spend more time trying to straighten that out and true it back up, and I only have basically a hammer and a screwdriver, so it's going to take me a little while here. So we're getting into downtime, and unfortunately those 2 1s mean I lose 2 die from my supply pool. And because I did not solve the problem from the supply, I will lose another die in that. So I am down to 0 die in my supply. I can't lose any more die than that, but I also can't solve any of the problems there, so I think this is going to compound quickly. And lastly, I get a roll 1d6 for foraging to see if I can recuperate 1 die. That's a 1. No luck. I'm not even going to bother trying to move die at this point. My downtime is spent staring at this bicycle, knowing it's defeated me. Alright, we'll roll for our next problem. It's a 5 and a 2. We need a specific thing from the drugstore. I'll tweak it a bit. I need some tools to fix this bike. So let's go ahead and roll and see how this plays out first. Rather than come up with the story first, let's see. Let's let the dice tell me how I do looking for this. That's a 6. A 1. And a 4. Well, I only needed to beat a 9, so that 11 will do perfect. I'm done staring at this bike. I gotta take some action. I can't be cooped up inside all day. I'm gonna chance it. I'll go out to the stores. It's only like a general store over there, but perhaps they have some additional tools that'll help me fix the bike problem I've got going on here. So carefully, quietly, leave the house. Make sure the door's closed. I've set up a string line across the front of the porch. Not to trip anyone, but just enough that it would indicate to me that someone has entered, since no one's here to watch the place. I know the fastest way to get to the store in town. It's not all that far, but there's a little roundabout just to make sure that we don't have a direct path leading back to our house here. And we previously jimmied the door open, and we've got it kind of just wedged closed, so it's not too hard to undo if you know what you're looking for. I'm able to find some pliers, some rubber patch, a hand pump, and I'm feeling pretty good that maybe there's a chance here with these items that I can MacGyver my way back into getting this bike problem solved. I'm able to head back to the cabin. There's no sign of anyone entering, nothing disturbed. And that rolls us into downtime. And now that I rolled a 6, I do get an additional die in safety. But I'm going to go ahead and try to move that die from safety to supply by working recklessly, which is pretty easy to do when you're the only one here. And with everyone being gone, it leaves me to do all the foraging and herbalism. I'll spend most of my time just scavenging around the area that week to try to make sure that we're topped up and not running low on any of the necessary supplies. Should anyone come here and need help, I'm able to do so. So I have 1 die in supply. And really quickly, I'm going to roll for foraging to see if I can pull up another die. And that is a 4. No such luck. Alright, we're going to roll for the new problem. I roll a 2. And a 3. A human poacher is attacking my house with a difficulty level of 12. Alright, well, let's go ahead and roll the dice here. I have 3 in safety. I need to beat a 12 or this problem gets real bad real fast. No 1s, please. Ooh, a 6. A 1. And a 2 for 9. So I've got 9 of the 12. Another week's gone by. I've been fighting with this stupid bicycle for the last week, making some bits of progress it seems, but every time I accomplish something, I break something else. It's kind of a fool's errand at this point. But I can hear a voice outside the cabin calling out to me. Anyone in there? Come on out. Unlike these creatures out here, I don't bite. And I'll answer back. What do you want? Not much. How many of you are in there? There's 3 of us and we're well armed. You don't say. I do say. So if you're hoping to live another day, keep moving. You're gonna find nothing but trouble inside this house. Well, alright then. Have it your way. And the man will go ahead and, for now, wander away. But I get the feeling he's not quite gone. We'll roll into downtime, and that 6 gives me an additional die, but I also did not accomplish the task in safety, so that'll take away a die. But the 1 I rolled won't, because at least I had the herbalism project table still going. Now I'll roll a d6 to see if I could pick up another die from foraging. 3 will not do it, so no change in my die count. So So I still have 3 in spirit, 3 in safety, and 1 in supply. I'm not going to spend any time trying to move dice around here, and I'm just going to go straight into the next week of problems. Let's roll for them. 4, 5. A skirmish with a hostile camp is brewing. That is a 18 to remove that problem. Well, I'm going to go ahead and focus on the poacher right now. Let me roll the dice on that. I need 3 to get rid of this poacher. It's a 2, a 5, and a 1. So that takes care of the 3 I needed. I spent most of this last week trying to improve security around our cabin here. Early warning. The strings kind of tied off to some cans, things knock over that way. That should at least give me some sort of early detection. And, I think Matt wasn't all that crazy. These bear traps in the right place, not such a bad idea after all, as long as you remember where they're at. I saw where that poacher came in from last time, and I figured he'd likely come back the same way. I put out one of those traps and covered it well. He walked right into it. Son of a bitch! What kind of asshole puts out a trap like this? I was waiting for him. I was just behind that shed with that golf club. Took it straight across the back of his head. He's out. Gone and dead. I take the shotgun he had and go ahead and drag the body out to the edge of the forest there, just a few hundred feet from the cabin, because I don't want to draw too much attention here. I don't have time to dig a hole right now. As I'm heading back to our cabin, I hear voices. I take cover behind a tree and just sit quietly. And I can hear them as their footsteps pass by, and they're following the trail to that body. And I know right now there's a good chance they're coming back at me. There's at least 3 of them right now. I didn't realize there was that many people living so closely to us. I don't know how I wouldn't notice them, but things are not looking good. So for downtime, since I have an unresolved problem in safety, I'm going to lose 1 die. So I'm down to 2 in safety. I'm going to roll for foraging first to see if I can't pick up 1 more die for supply. And a 2 is still not good enough. I'm going to go ahead and spend my week trying to move the 1 die I have in supply over to safety. I've given up on supply. We're going to try to stick to safety. I'll do so by treating my wounds. So, all this work I've been doing by myself. I've got blisters on top of blisters. I've got cuts and all that. So, luckily with that herbalism and foraging, that's keeping things going around here, and I'm able to wrap up my wounds and improve my overall health. So I will now have 3 in spirit, 3 in safety, 0 in supply. Let's roll for this week's problem. It's a 1 and a 4. We are starting to snap at each other. A difficulty level of 15 to remove this problem. I'm going to go ahead and roll to try to remove the spirit problem, and let's see how that works. That's a 1, a 2, and a 2. 5 out of 15. Well, after having presumably killed that man, and knowing that presumably his companions have found his body, it's gone since the last time I went and checked on it. It's gone. I haven't slept well, and the stress of all this is getting to me, and without that sleep, I'm starting to argue with myself. Stupid idiot. Can't even fix a bike. How are you going to live out here on your own if you can't even fix a bicycle? You know they're coming for you. It's only a matter of time. You can't defend yourself. You might as well take the shotgun and use it on yourself, because whatever they have in mind for you is going to be far, far worse. Who's tracking all this dirt in here? You know you're supposed to remove your boots when you come inside. It's my house too. I'll do whatever the hell I want. Like hell you will. You clean this up right now. I'll get to it when I feel like getting to it. We'll move into downtime with me slipping slowly into insanity. The 1 doesn't affect anything, but I'm gonna lose a die in spirit and a die in safety for having 2 problems remaining unsolved. I'm not gonna bother trying to move any dice around by doing some tasks this week. Just go ahead and roll my 1 extra d6 for my foraging, and a 5 is just gonna not cut it. I'm left with 2 in spirit, 2 in safety, and 0 in supply. We're just gonna roll for next week's problem. That's a 2. And a 5. Aggressive locals are mounting a raid with a difficulty of 18. The problem I'm going to focus on this week is spirit. I can't fight everyone else if I'm fighting myself, so I will roll my 2d6 for spirit. That's a 6. And a 5. I need a 10. Oh, perfect. I realize that I'm getting on my own nerves. I'm not able to focus. I'm going to go ahead and open up that herbalism book, and I'm going to see if I can't find a plant here, something that would help me relax. Turns out, we've already got that on hand. I don't have to go anywhere, so I go ahead and brew myself a strong cup of this relaxing tea, and I mellow out. I actually sleep for a good 12, 13 hours, make up for all that time spent insomnia and self-arguing, and at least I've resolved that 1 problem with spirit. I'm awoken to the sound of branches cracking and whispers around me. I go ahead and peek out the bedroom window there, and I can see some people dressed in camo. They're pretty well camouflaged, but I can see some movement along the tree line to the north of me, and I go to the other side of the house, and again I can see the same movement from a few other individuals. It seems like they've got me targeted here. It seems like they're scouting out the area, planning their attack. I don't know how much longer I have, or I don't know what I could do about it at this point. I got nothing to flee on because this bike is useless. And unfortunately, I have 2 unsolved problems in safety, so my 2 die will disappear, and I've got a 0. I am down to 2 in spirit. Go team, go team, go. Not gonna help, is it? Let's roll for our next problem. It's a 2, which is safety. And a 2. A zombie is wandering the yard. That's a difficulty level of 9. Well, I got no safety dice to roll, so that zombie can have the front yard. I will go ahead and just let him pass on through. I'm not going out there. And with the house camp in the area, there's definitely no reason for me to go outside. So my downtime this week is just going to be spent inside. I'm not going to try to move dice anywhere. So I'm pretty much a hermit this week. Keep the lights off, keep the noise down, just a shut-in all to myself. I'm going to do a quick foraging roll. That's a 3, so no luck once again with foraging. I guess that makes sense when I'm shut inside. So I still only have 2 dice in spirit, 0 in safety, and 0 in supply. Alright, let's go ahead and start off this next week by rolling for my next problem. I'll roll a 4 and a 6. Well, it's not a good start. Spirit. News came in that a loved one has turned. Well, I only have 2 die in spirit, so I will make an attempt here to overcome this problem. I roll a 2 and a 2, leaving 17 unanswered points. Another week has passed, and I'm up in the morning sipping on my relaxy tea, and as I look through the gaps in the boards on the window, I can see Matt. He's returned, and I'm immediately spirits lifted. I'm excited, and I go to the front door, and I open the door. I can see him across the yard, but his face isn't right. His mouth is just open, and he's groaning, dragging his legs. His clothing is quite a bit tattered, and I could see him looking up at me. The skin is that pale complexion with just sores and rotting and pus and just fungus growing on it. He didn't make it. I bet Jackie didn't either. We'll go into downtime. I don't gain any die, but I'm gonna go ahead and lose a die in spirit for this problem being not resolved. So I'm gonna roll for foraging. I really need another die at this point. And that's a 1. Fuck you, dice. Alright. Well, there's nothing to do this week. I just spend my time watching Matt wander around aimlessly. He somehow manages to avoid that damn bear trap that's out there, groaning mindlessly. It's like he knows he's supposed to come back here, but he's not sure beyond that of what he's supposed to be doing here. And with that one problem remaining in spirit, I will lose 1 die as we move into downtime. A quick futile roll for foraging. A 2. I'll spend my time trapped inside, unable to really do anything. Just keeping an eye on my friend there, kind of debating my options on what I've got left to do. And then we'll go ahead and roll for next week's problem. That's a 1, so it'll be spirit. And a 2. I hear strange sounds coming from the woods at night. I'm stuck up all night. I can hear Matt out there groaning, moaning, footsteps dragging. Gives he bangs into something out there. He's certainly drawing a lot more attention here than I'd like him to be. As the sun begins to come up in the morning, I think I finally figured out what I need to do. So I'm gonna go ahead and roll for my single spirit die for the news that a loved one has turned. I don't think I can roll a 17 on a single 6-sided die. Oh, fitting. It is a 1. I lose the die because of the 1. I lose the die because of my 2 existing problems in spirit. So I know it needs to be done. I'll head into the pantry. I'll pull out the 1 can of Spam I've been saving for a special occasion. Never really thought of it as a luxury item, but today we're celebrating. And we got a couple of near moldy potatoes, but I'll dice those up and with the oil and everything, fat, make kind of a nice little crispy potato breakfast here with a side of meat. And you know what, that bottle of whiskey that Matt had been saving, a little bit left in it, and today seems like a good day as any to enjoy it. After I've had my fill, I go and grab that shotgun, make sure I have 2 rounds in it, and open the front door. It's a cool morning, but it's quite sunny. It's very calm and peaceful. You can hear the birds chirping. And there's my buddy. He sees me across the front yard there, starts hobbling his way towards me, making that same damn groaning noise he made all night long. And I'll look him straight in those blank gray eyes of his. I'll say, I know you'd do the same for me. And don't worry, I won't be far behind you. And I'll raise that shotgun, point it straight at Matt's head, and pull the trigger. I watch as his body falls backwards and stops moving. Then I eject the cartridge, load up that second round I brought with me, and begin to turn it towards myself. And I hear a rifle go off. Not all that far away. As I look down, I can see a single hole in my chest. I fall forward down to my knees and I look up. I can see 4 heavily armed men at the tree line. They've been watching and they've been waiting. And they're gonna take what's mine. And that will end my single player session of Creeping Rot. I hope you've enjoyed it. I certainly enjoyed playing this to a loss versus the success we had as a group. I knew going into it that there's no way I was going to be able to overcome all these problems on my own, but I enjoyed it quite a bit. And with that, hope you can find yourself a table or a computer and some friends so you can roll into your own NatFun.